Chapter 15, Bamboozled. Caroline was beginning to wonder how much longer she had to roll around the floor of the shed with marshmallow on her lips before her sisters came after her. It was entirely by accident that she discovered the marshmallow foam. Once she found the boys had padlocked the door, she had popped a marshmallow in her mouth for energy, then realized how thirsty she was. Sloshing the marshmallow sauce around in her mouth, she was thinking that if she ever had to play the part of a mad woman, she could use marshmallow foam. And it didn't take long to decide what to do when the boys came again to check on her. All she had to do was make that happen, and that was to be quiet. Little snatches of conversation came from the steps across the yard. They have to take her. I'm not touching her. We're responsible. Caroline decided that if she didn't need a drink of water so much, she could probably hold out another couple of hours. The next thing she heard was the sound of a car pulling in the drive, but even before it stopped, the back door slammed and she heard Jake say quickly, "They're coming! Beth and Eddie are on their way!" What should she do now, she wondered. This could be her grandest performance yet. Should she go on pretending to be rabid so that Beth and Eddie had to carry her home? Or should she wait until her sisters opened the door of the shed and then they could all have a big laugh together? Or maybe she could make a grand entrance now by herself and 3 bushels of apples, she heard Mrs. Hatford saying. They were the best I've seen in a long, long time, and I don't want to hear any complaining. You didn't want to help pick them, so you can certainly help peel them. Won't do you one bit of harm. She had better wait until the parents had gone inside, Caroline thought. Mrs. Hatford might figure out right away what was on her lips, and she didn't want to reveal the joke until Beth and Eddie were there. The back door slammed as Mr. and Mrs. Hatford went inside. 3 minutes later, there came the crunch of footsteps on the gravel drive and the sound of girls' low voices. Caroline could hardly keep from laughing out loud, and when Eddie opened the door of the shed at last, Caroline was sitting on the floor grinning, a marshmallow perched on her head. The 3 burst out laughing. "I told you it was probably a marshmallow," said Beth. "I knew she couldn't get that sick in 2 hours." "Oh, Eddie," Caroline shrieked happily, "it was my best performance. They thought I was rabid. They thought I was mad. They were even afraid to touch me." "Did you know they called 3 times trying to get us to come and get you?" Beth giggled. "And you know what we made them say?" asked Eddie. "Your faithful, obedient servant." The girls howled. They turned and started back across the yard. Josh and Jake were still on the steps with Peter, their faces pink with embarrassment. Just then, the back door opened and out stepped Mrs. Hatford carrying a huge pan of apples. Mr. Hatford was behind her carrying one of the bushels. "Hello, girls," she called cheerfully. Caroline, Beth, and Eddie stopped dead in their tracks. "Wally just told me you were coming," Mrs. Hatford went on. "How nice of you to volunteer. I think we could do them right here in the yard, don't you?" The girls stared in astonishment, then gave a low moan as Wally, paring knives in hand, came down the back steps with a smile as wide as Christmas. All right, that's the end of the first book. The second book is called The Girls Get Even. Stay tuned.